processing. Get ourselves on there. What an exciting day today. So thank you very much for everybody who's tuning in early, nice and early. I can't actually see anybody here who is tuning in, who's not. As soon as it starts echoing, we know we're live, and I'll switch the cameras over. What an exciting day today. So thank you very much for everybody. Okie dokie. So we are live on YouTube, as expected. Hey. So, Juggy, before we get live and in conversation with everybody else and start the actual process, how has today been for you?
Today's been good. You know, I'm doing some gigs at some care homes in my local area. So I done one of them lunchtime today.
Oh, wow.
Really, really good to kind of, it's my way of kind of giving back. Just an hour playing their music requests. So yeah, it was really, really good. Yeah.
You're going to talk about this in a moment as well, with you being a DJ.
Yeah. So I thought, well, put that to use.
Good for you. Give me a second. Let's get this live working. Where is the live? There it is. And we're live, aren't we?
We are indeed.
Volume down, just to see that we're working. So I think we're getting very close to being actually 7 o'clock. I think we're there. So welcome everybody to episode 49 of the Inspired Tribes Processing. This is the Empower Hour show. Now, if anybody's been involved in what we've been up to before with God's blessings, you'll understand that my vision is basically with partnership with the Empower Hours, partnership with the Salam Radio, which is 106.2 FM, and also on DAB. They are also on salamradio.co.uk, which is the live player. And just to add something on there as well, they also have an app which you can download, just the Salam Radio app. Facebook as well. This sadly won't be streamed live on the Salam Radio website because obviously there's the regulations, and currently we're not live with constant content. So that's why I've taken the liberty and the understanding that we're making the Empower Hour show live. Same period of time. Same 7 o'clock till 8 o'clock. And as soon as Salam Radio is functioning back after lockdown through this unprecedented time with COVID-19, what we will be doing is automatically go straight back with this program back onto the actual radio station as well. So this evening, it's been an absolute beautiful day. We've had a lovely conversation. We've got if you can just see on to my left, there is a gentleman here, which I will introduce in a second. But the Empower Hours show has been designed specifically to deliver basically a boost of inspiration, a clarity, an insight into some very, very well-esteemed celebrities and also individuals who were the forefront of their mindset. People have had challenges in life, for them to realize that it's okay and we can move ourselves further forward, actually sharing their own personal journey. The Empower Hour show is, in my opinion, it's one of the closest show that I bring to my heart, which is a live program that we deliver on YouTube now. So I'm just going to touch base just a little bit. I'm going to introduce our truly, truly amazing guest this evening. But before I do that, I just want to reach out to everybody through this lockdown period and through the period that there has been COVID-19, and it's touched the hearts of many. In this particular broadcast, you will learn from my esteemed, you could say, partner in crime tonight, our guest, that he actually went through COVID-19 as well, a milder version, but he still went through the process, and how he bounced back and how he's working still through lockdown and how it's given him a new lease of life. This is the kind of stuff that we've been covering today, the empowerment process. And one more final thing that I want to share, our heart, our love goes out from both of us to the world with anybody who's in the forefront within our services industry, NHS, private sector, pharmacists, firefighters, any of our civil service environment people. Thank you very much for your service and the assistance that you're offering to everybody through this trying time of lockdown, in essence, within our British Isles and around the world. So this evening, no more time taken. I'm going to bring straight in, we have our awesome Juggy, who basically To be very, very clear, he has a brand and a stage name of Juggy Sohal. So he is a BBC reporter, a BBC anchor, Sikh Channel anchor. He's worked around. He's a DJ, which if you watch the preamble to this, he was talking about helping elderly in residential homes as well. This gentleman is vibrant. He's still in his 20s, not for long, but he's still in his 20s, and he's basically achieved such beautiful, we could say, focus in his life where he's driven himself. It's not been all a bed of roses, of course not, but we'll be covering that later on in our conversation. So I just want to introduce Juggy. Welcome, Juggy. Everybody can see you and hear you live on YouTube.
Hello, Sukhi. Thanks for having me on. And yeah, you're right. A couple more days left of my 20s. So I'm just trying to enjoy
Literally.
it.
Are you serious? Only a couple of days?
Yeah.
That's really, really amazing. So what, you're going to be the big 3-0 soon?
Yeah, the big 3-0, and I'm going to be celebrating virtually, obviously. So just got all the family kind of all planning some quiz games, I think. So yeah, it's going to be good. It's going to be good.
Wonderful. This is it's just heartwarming that we've got you on the show. It was something I really wanted to reach out and have you on the show, because we've got a great audience. I want to say hello to everybody from around the world. Our audience that follows us in Africa, the audience that follows us in India, Pakistan, Australia. Would you believe I've even had contact from people in New Zealand, obviously America, UK, and Europe, Eastern Europe as well. Everybody who subscribes to our YouTube channel, please do, if you're watching this, please do subscribe and keep us able to deliver content. This evening, Juggy has achieved so much in such a young age. He's, I suppose you could say, the epitome of dedication in his career, because the career of showbiz or broadcast isn't easy. It is not as easy at all. But if you're listening tonight and you think that you want to get into broadcasting, or you want to learn a bit more about the pitfalls and the challenges that one could have, this is the show for you. Please do stay tuned in. This is every single week between 7 o'clock and 8 o'clock live on YouTube Live for now, on my personal channel, which is the Sukhi Wahiwala official content channel. In months to come or weeks to come, it'll go back onto the radio station with salamradio.co.uk. And I just want to shout out to them because they're sponsoring this delivery as well. So Juggy, just to touch base with yourself, we get very close with all of our guests this evening in this particular show. So my question to yourself is, where would you like to start? Because you've got such a coveted career, and such, you've spoken on Ideal Shopping Channel. You've been a salesperson on there. You've been involved in so many different avenues of broadcast. So you're a consummate professional and growing, obviously, on your journey. But just to give us a bit of a background about Juggy, where are you from? And sort of like how many brothers, siblings, children, that kind of thing do you have? And I don't think you're married yet, so.
So no children then. Definitely no children. No marriage just yet. And so I've got an older brother and sister. They're both married in their own kind of individual homes. My sister's got 2 kids. I've got like a lovely niece and nephew. I live in Bedford with my family, so my mum and dad. So just us 3 at home at the moment. So I'm kind of like an old child.
Shout out to the Bedford crew that's watching this tonight.
Yeah, exactly.
A lot of people.
Good.
D. Garcher, Himat Singh, Sham, and all of them individuals contacted and read out to me. So thank you very much, guys. And I think we also had another very close friend of mine who was a client of mine or a customer of mine from one of my previous guys' companies.
Yeah, Cam Bain, so he's a family friend as well. And he was like, "Oh, we're going to be on Sukhi's show. Like, say hello to him."
Hiya, Cam. Yeah. It's been a long time. It's lovely to hear that you reached out as well. Sorry, back to so you're one of 3 siblings, mum and dad.
Yeah, one of 3 siblings. So I'm the youngest, and we're all known to be quite loud. But I was like, look, wait until you meet my big brother and sister, and then you'll realise I'm actually like the shy, sensible one. Like, honestly, and that's saying a lot, really. So there's 2 really good characters, and we get it all from my great mum and dad. So born in Bedford, and then we moved to Kent, so right by the seaside, by Margate, and yeah, so it was by the beach. My parents decided to go from they were working in factories down here. They wanted to have their own business, so they invested in a corner shop right on the seafront, and yeah, we grew up there. So it was really, really interesting place to grow up, I would say.
So that's quite a journey. I mean, being in the Bedford environment, which is the middle of the country in essence, you to shift all the way out of town, completely? Was that for business?
Yeah, so it was for business. They wanted to, start afresh, and they got this really good opportunity. And you have to go sometimes where the opportunities are. So they went to run this shop to 3 young kids. For me, I never really kind of knew any different because I was about 5 when I moved. But for my brother and sister, they were a bit older, so they already started school down here in Bedford. They built some friends. Obviously, all my family, extended family, are down here as well. So we had to move away from that. So it was just kind of us 5 living in a flat above the shop. The parents were just kind of full on in the shop from my dad used to get about 4:30, close at 11. So we never really used to see him. And then mum just kind of used to juggle us and down in the shop as well. So yeah, it was.
Well, this sounds like very much a kind of a story that a lot of Asian families and non-Asian families, anybody in business, can actually resonate with, and they can connect with the fact that this was actually a real life. And I think part of that, when my elder siblings, myself, knew, they felt the similar sort of thing as well, the same vibration as what you had said there. So a question to yourself then, what was school life like? I mean, what was Juggy? How was Juggy perceived in this world? You were completely in a lovely, so you'd taken a change earlier in life, so it didn't really affect you too badly. But what was school life like? I mean, who was Juggy?
It was really difficult because I wasn't even known as Juggy then. So obviously my family called me that because that's my nickname. But my kind of on paper name, I suppose, my name that they called out in the register was Jagvir. So it was always kind of, they pronounced the name. My mum's full name's Juggyz, so they would pronounce it as Jagvir. And then that would be kind of what I was known as growing up. So I had to go to a Catholic school because there was no other schools around the area. So me and my sister actually went to a Catholic school. So it's really weird because obviously I had this kind of Sikh, bangle on the gutter. And then you would go, and I would go do hymns in the morning because obviously you had to be a part of the program. So it was really weird because, as you grow older, maybe when I was younger, I didn't really realize, but as I grew older and I went into secondary school, I realized, oh my God, I'm the only brown face here. I'm literally the only Indian. It was, it was literally the only person from BME background.
Yeah, so the BAME background. So there's something very interesting there. So the first thing, I mean, as a practicing Sikh myself as well, a Sikh, S-I-K-H, as our religious denomination, religious following, our belief system. So one of the key things and the core things within the Sikh faith, which you shared earlier as well, is that everything's seen as one. So actually being a part of the Catholic process and morning hymns wouldn't really have affected your thinking, I think. But maybe in hindsight, maybe it does. But the reality, the core of Sikhism is actually the oneness of everybody, the oneness of it all. So I think that's very endearing. And I went through a similar journey myself as being a British-born Sikh as well. But I didn't go to Catholic school, but I did go to a Protestant school. But I participated in all that as well. Because once I did ask my father a question, just to share so the audience can hear. I said, Dad, why is it that I go to school and I use the word Jesus, but then when I come home, we're Sikhs? And Dad said, well, when you connect in your heart, it's the same place. You're connected in the same place. So of course you should be praying. You should pray in all faiths and understand that you are a Sikh and that you connect with the world. And I think that's a wonderful mission world. So a question to yourself with reference to, we've had a few individuals who've actually been on this show as well, who had a very similar sort of challenge when it comes to being basically a minority of some kind, BAME, whichever you see it. But my question to yourself is that, did it actually cause a challenge? Because it's been mixed. I mean, I didn't actually have a challenge when I grew up, but that doesn't belittle. Did you have any racial contention?
So challenge is a weird one because obviously I felt a challenge in my own head because obviously you're conflicted. You're born into Sikhi. My parents were Sikh, so I didn't actually learn much about it because there's no religious education on Sikhi in my class. There was every other religion, but you didn't know about that. And obviously you do pick up the Punjabi language. My parents taught us that, but obviously because we grew up, the nearest Gurdwara is Gravesend, so it was like 45 minutes away. So we didn't go as much.
Gurdwara means a Sikh temple, Gurdwara.
Yeah, Sikh temple, yeah. And like a lot of the people that grew up in Bedford went to Punjabi school when they learned about the culture. So I didn't really know. I just knew, okay, I was Sikh. And then obviously I'm going to a Catholic school, so I'm learning about, all that. and then you're going up and you realize you're the kind of, like I mentioned before, I'm the only brown face. So yeah, you do face some kind of adversity, you know, people do pick up on that. There is kind of that own kind of, you know, and then that makes you question, oh, you know, why am I this? Why am I not the same as them? And it's just kind of that young thing that you go through, really, that kind of naivety and not knowing about everything yet.
So could you say something? Could we make a statement that basically a lot of the contention could possibly have been from within, as opposed to the actual indigenous community that was there? Or did you feel uncomfortable yourself, or were you made to feel uncomfortable in any way?
I'd say a bit of both, because obviously, if you don't know about everything, and you know, as you grow up, I've learned a lot more about my religion, my culture, my background, everything like that. And now I can confidently say, you know, I'm Sikh, Punjabi. But back then I didn't. So obviously, yeah, that's your own kind of conflict. But then you do get outside conflicts, you know, you get called names, because you are different. You are, you know, physically, you're different from everyone else there. And you do stand out like a sore thumb.
In today's society, that's a really wonderful explanation there. But in today's society, do you feel that's kind of changed? I mean, you are in the forefront of a BBC lineup. You know, you're a presenter, you're an anchor. You've had quite a journey. We'll get into that in a moment. But do you feel that did actually cause, kind of drove you more as opposed to pushed you insular? What did it have effect-wise?
Yeah, I feel like it did, because I'm really passionate about diversity now, and everyone having a place and everyone having a voice. And that's like something that does drive me. And when I look back, I do think maybe it was because, you know, of the names I got called, or just feeling a bit like, I feel a bit lonely, I suppose, because you're kind of like, okay, you're growing up, you know, I never really connected with, it wasn't until uni I really connected with friends. And I was the biggest coconut going into uni, as they would say, you know.
Just to clarify, coconut it's not an official terminology, just for everybody, so you understand. It's actually just an accidental, it's kind of like a conversation that happens occasionally with individuals where people think, and this is, please accept my apology on this one, but it means that the coconut is brown on the outside and white on the inside with its white flesh. So it's just a thought process that comes out there as well, just so everybody understands as well. Sorry, back to yourself. I just muted you temporarily just so you can handle
it. Yeah, sorry, the house phone. So obviously going into uni, like I said, I didn't really know much about everything. And then it wasn't until uni where I found friends that actually could relate to everything, you know, Asian friends that understood everything. So that's when I kind of found my place. So growing up, it was quite lonely, you know, you do feel kind of lonely. And that did kind of drive me to find something that's
push from within.
You know, yeah, find my place, and I want other people to find their place. And I'm still trying to find my place in a new industry. So yeah, I don't think, back to your like initial question, I don't think the names are called anymore. So I don't think, but I do think the stigma is still there.
Got it. So can I say something else then? What if, do you feel, because we've had a very deep conversation and you know, I assist a lot of individuals, and this show is about the empowerment element. So do you feel that the not fitting in or re-evolving yourself and refinding yourself and seating yourself in your current state within your current job, you know, within broadcasting and on radio and being a private DJ as well, do you feel that, will that ever change? Will that ever end unless you just say, do you know what? I am whatever I am. The words I am. Do you feel that just by saying I've arrived, I am who I am, and I'm just going to deliver, you'll always basically, otherwise you'll always be facing uphill struggles? What do you feel about that?
Yeah, I feel like it is changing. And you can definitely see like such a difference from even when I was growing up, and then let alone my brother's like 7 years older, from when he was growing up to when I'm grown up to now. You can definitely see the change and the progress, but there's still a long way to go. You know, it shouldn't be about finding an hour dedicated to diversity or BAME. It should be about inflicting that into the everyday schedule and, you know, into the everyday kind of, you know, workforce and everything like that. It shouldn't be a specialized hour. And that's that's got to change. That kind of whole mentality has to change.
And I think you've just hit it on the nail there. Would you agree that putting attention to something like that, if you're attending to an indifference, now this is a fine line, by the way, attending to indifference, it actually causes more attention to the difference, you know, the color change, etc. But on the same token, it's also assistive because of the fact that it means that voices that are unheard, voices that are trampled down, maybe in an accidental or a purposeful imbalance within society, also get heard now. So they'll basically put into a procedure. There's something that likens connection to this, where we look at the largest democratic country on the planet, which is India. Not because I've descended from there, because obviously I'm a Brit through and through, but the Indian diaspora, in essence, what it is, the political agenda is that there is a caste system over there. So there are legislationally points written across where everybody who comes from a lower caste, which I don't believe in, by the way, all humans are equal within the Sikh faith and the world. So a person who comes from a lower caste can now, they're actually secured spaces allocated within colleges. Now, I would personally, at a what we call a naive way, would say that within itself is segregation, is identifying the segregation. But the outcome of this, I'll just share with you, you know, this has been going on for 30 years over there. The outcome of this is that what would have been previously that particular individual, or I'll use it caste for India, or positioning or demographic of individual, social stature, would have been trampled down and never given a chance to get into university. Those individuals are now 20 years, 30 years on, in some cases 40 years on, that they're actually in very strong judges and in place of that sort of nature. So they would never have got that chance either. So it's a kind of, would you agree? Sorry, I'm talking so much, it's about you, but it's a bit of a catch-22, isn't it, sometimes as well?
Yeah, 100% agree. I think there is. And that's the whole thing. Like, there's still so many things as we're changing into a new era that everyone's trying to iron out. You know, do we get rid of everything that's, you know, been built and been in place and being embedded in everyone, and how do we navigate through this 9 times? So like you said, yeah, 100% is a catch-22.
I want to change just the direction a little bit, if I can, because there was something very serious that happened in your life, and we'll talk about your career in a moment. I just want everybody to understand that, Juggy, you did get affected by the COVID, or you had all the symptoms, and it was only like 2-3 weeks ago. And I think it's very important to talk about this for individuals who may be worried that they've got the symptoms, or people who are thinking if they got it, they wouldn't be able to pull through. God's blessings, the universe's blessings, are standing in front of us all tonight, and you're absolutely healthy. Juggy, you know, what happened, and please share a bit of information of what it was to feel that journey.
So it was about, I'd say about 6 weeks ago now. So when we first kind of went into lockdown, and I started to feel chills and just a bit, and I got headaches, but that wasn't known as one of the symptoms back then. You know, it was just if you got a fever or your cough. So that was the 2 main symptoms. So I thought, okay, I'm fine. And then I started to get like a bit of a fever, and then I was just like, okay, I'm going to go to bed. I'm going to sleep it off. And then I called my cousin, who's actually a doctor. He's a doctor in Bedford. And I was like, look, I'm feeling like this. What shall I do? Because obviously I live at home with my mum and dad. My dad's got asthma, so they're more prone to be high risk. So obviously I was really worried. So I was like, okay, look, I'm fine about myself, but, you know, what about them? So he called and he goes, look, you need to isolate. And, you know, after 24 hours, we can assess it then, because it's hard to judge without testing. So I stayed in my room.
That was rather lucky, wasn't it, that you had a cousin? Please do mention his name, so that it's just wonderful that we can applaud.
Yeah, my cousin TJ Gill. Yeah, so I'm really yeah, he's great. And he's doing really well. And yeah, just thank you to him, because he's doing a great job.
With sincere gratitude. And please do continue. How was it?
Yeah, so I isolated in my room for 7 days. I started to get more symptoms as the day go on. Like some, you know, for a couple of hours you feel really, really ill, and then a couple of hours you're fine, and you're like, oh. You're like, where did that go? Have I got it? And you're just questioning yourself. You're questioning. You're reading up on it. You're watching the news as well, and you're kind of feeling bad as well, because I had it quite mild. So I did get all the symptoms, but I got them in stages. So first I got fever, then I got headaches, then I got chills, and then I started to get cough towards the kind of the latter part of my kind of COVID experience, I suppose. And yeah, and you know, I got it in stages, so I'm quite lucky where some people got it. So you kind of feel bad. You're kind of like, well, why am I getting it really easy? Not easy, but mild, compared to other people. You know, some people get breathlessness, and then who am I to kind of feel sorry for myself or moan? But then also, when you're ill, you do kind of want to do that. So it's kind of like that inner battle again.
It's like it's that semi sort of consoling. But just to touch a base, if you don't mind, there, did you find actually acknowledging the fact that you had the symptoms harder, or the fact that you didn't know whether you had the symptoms? You know, in these waves of, I've got some, you know, shivers, I'm cold, I've got a temperature, I'm aching, I'm coughing, because I'm sure you had coughing as well, and then it's slightly dropping, the temperature disappearing, you know, and coming back to normal zone. What was more frightening? Was it the fact that you possibly had it, or was it the fact that you didn't know?
I think initially it's the fact that I didn't know, because I was getting these symptoms, but I wasn't getting like direct coughing, or it was just kind of felt like a normal, kind of a bad flu, right? And then it wasn't until I got coughing that I knew, okay, I probably do have it. So I definitely need to stay away from my parents now. So I just stayed in my room. And then it's all coping with the fact that you're isolating by yourself. You know, my mum, luckily I have my mum, because she was bringing up food outside my door. And then, so very good to me, you know, the perks of living at home.
And the blessings to your parents, which basically, even though there was a risk attached to this, you were their child, and it's unconditional, the love. It's wonderful to hear. 100%. And just to understand, what sort of, because if somebody's listening, if we can help one person who's listening, and maybe we might be going through these unconscious thoughts, what sort of pains did you go through? Was it, how bad was there any coughing and that kind of thing? Was it symptoms like?
So I would say generally it feels like you're quite ill, but it's when it stops and starts. So obviously it's different for everyone, because some people lose their smell, some people lose their sense of smell, their taste buds, and breathlessness, like I mentioned before. So it's different for everyone, but it's just, if you're feeling, you know, ill, just take the precautions and isolate, because that's the, you know, best way to deal with it. And then, you know, if you recover after, because COVID is a long battle, you know, it's not just going to be over. So if you're feeling better after 3 days, it's more likely that you don't have it, because it's a long battle. It took me about 11 days to kind of feel, okay, back to normal. And then I know, you know, for yourself and like for other people, it's taken longer. So it's different. Everyone's journey is different. But it doesn't, you know,
and that's a valuable.
It's not any less person have had it.
Just to share that, obviously, I had the same symptoms as well, and which is not really what this show is about. But from my own personal self, I'm sharing this openly, which I don't usually share. But I'm very blessed that I'm still here, and I did feel well. I did have the fevers for 1.5 days or so. But going back, and we've all lost people. Our heart goes out to so many individuals out there who have lost. And I just feel as I want to just mention a very close, influential individual's name. His name was Mr. Nazir Awan, which was basically the founder with his brother Nasser Awan of Awan Marketing from Birmingham, and they were very, very influential to my life. But I want to sort of kind of stake this into the world that it was a very sad moment. He lost his fight against COVID, and he was only in his mid-60s from my memory. What a wonderful gentleman, and God bless him wherever he is now. The principle of conversation that I'd like to take this towards, if I can, is in that moment when you started to feel alone in that space. You mentioned you felt alone. Honestly, what was going through your mind? Because I want everybody to understand that you'll have these moments, but you can pull through it. But what exactly was going through your mind? Did you feel, what kind of isolation said and felt are two different things? What was going on in your mind, and how did you pull yourself up?
It was a lot going through your mind. So obviously, like you said, like that inner conflict, you're actually feeling just like physically ill, physically weak. And then you just feel like, God, like, I want this to be over. Like, what is going on? You kind of just have that, you know, self-pity, why me as well? Why is it happening to me? And then you go through like a load of a range of emotions. But the main one, I was just counting down to the days where I could leave my room, because I knew after 7 days it'd be not contagious. So I could actually just walk around the house, you know, just be in control of making your own cup of tea, making your own food. So it were just little little barriers. Okay, so now it's Thursday. I've got one more night, and then it'd be Friday. Then I've done a week, and then I can. So we just having little barriers for me.
Those little steps, little hallmarks.
Yeah, just fighting it and going. Okay, look, the next step now, the next step. And
wonderful.
That's what got me through, really.
So our main message to everybody is that COVID doesn't have to be the end of it all. Here we have a COVID survivor, we have a COVID living individual who's pushed through it. So please stay strong and stay focused within yourself. And as Juggy's been mentioning, he's clarifying that there is light at the end of the tunnel. Keep focused, keep driven, and God bless. With moving forward, I'm just discussing this a little bit. I mean, when you have a near-death experience, what actually happens? I mean, you've pulled through it. Do you have the same momentum and the same inertia, or what we call volition, energy in your mission, or has something changed? Have you just, right, this is enough? What's changed in your world?
Do you know what? You can't because usually when you're ill, you're every time I've been ill, I've only been ill for 3 to 4 days, maybe a week. But this was kind of just nearly bring it on 2 weeks. So by the time it's kind of over and you're feeling a bit more back to your normal self, it's kind of I just felt like this bolt of energy that I need to be productive. I need to keep going, I need to just, keep at it and keep consistent. And that's what I've done. I felt like, being a creative, I just felt like a creative wave come over me. And I was like, okay, I've got to do this and do this. I've got to get back into the game because I've been out of the game for 2 weeks. And that's what kind of the driving force. So yeah, you do kind of just feel this bolt of energy. And like I said, it's different for everyone. It really, really is. Some people take time, but I was just no, I need to get straight back into it. And I did.
God bless you, and for and the goodness of the fact that you're here, and the fact that you're standing and showing people how it can be, which is wonderful. Excuse me. So a little thought that comes up, that's so enlightening and so encouraging for everybody. So you're in this new lease of life, the new push. I mean, it's the new you, right? Come on, you're edging. In 2 days' time, you'll be 30 years old. This is the new you. In essence, is the rebirth, isn't it? So a little question to yourself. I want to touch a little bit about what you've achieved as well, and then where you're going, if you don't mind. Can you believe, Juggy, that we've been live for over half an hour?
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
God,
how quickly did that move and shift? This is the power of the Empower Hour. Everyone just connects with each other, and it's a genuine, real rendition of real life and how you've overcome things. So God bless you for that as well. So just to clarify, if you've just joined us, thank you very much and welcome. This is the Empower Hour show with myself, Sukhi Wahiwala, and sponsored by the Salam Radio crew. God goes out to them. My thoughts go out to them because they can't go live right now due to lockdown, but they're in our hearts, and we support them all the way through here in Peterborough, 106.2 FM. Now, another question to yourself, Juggy, if I can. You've had a great journey, right? So you're full of life right now. But I just want to touch a little bit about what you've achieved, because working on Sikh Channel as an anchor, going out on the street, creating your own content on YouTube, being a DJ, an independent DJ. And actually, I heard some of your beautiful, brilliant stories, which we're not going to cover on this family show, with reference to some of your children's shows and events that you've done. But talk to me a little bit about the children's shows that you do and what other things you've done in your life.
So when I went freelance, I decided I wanted to spend a bit more time, because obviously I've been always managing a full-time job alongside everything I do, building as a kind of presenter, producer, and writer. So I was like, okay, look, now I'm going freelance. I need to obviously get some stable money in. What can I do? What can I do that's kind of fun, not kind of chained to an office desk? So I just applied. I was just Googling, host work, and I come across this DJ company called Disco Factory, and they do all over Hertfordshire kids parties. So I went to an interview, and they were like, okay, if everything fails, what can you do? And I was like, okay, I can host an X Factor style talent show with the kids. And they were like, okay, they love that. So I ended up doing that for a year. I built on my own experiences, learned what I could, and worked with them. So every weekend I'll be doing I think sometimes 7 or 8 shows. And it would be so everything ranges from 4 till 16-year-olds parties. So, from 4 to 10, you're a DJ and entertainer. And then from 10 plus, you're kind of just a DJ. You're playing out the tunes for them. And
I think we're going to have to book you. We're going to have to book you sometime in the future as well when lockdown's over, Juggy.
Listen, that's fine. That's fine. Of course.
Did you feel that this really added, thank you for that, did you feel that's really added to your inner confidence of production or performing? Because even though you're, I mean, we all know, and it's been known, that children can be some of the most honest critics to your face. I mean, come on, have you had any of those sort of moments where, without keeping it fair and honest, but have you had any of those moments that have really added to your knowledge and understanding?
Listen, once you can control a group of like 34-year-olds, you know, that gives you the most confident, you know where your talents lie. And I was like, you know what, Mum, Dad, I'm quite good at this. I'm like, you know, all it takes is a mic and just keeping them entertained. And for 2 hours, I do that. You know, I do that a couple of times a day on weekends. And once you know you can do that, it kind of, like you said, they are your biggest critics. So if one walks off, you're like, oh no, how do I reel them back in?
And without losing the attention of the others, right?
Yeah.
Welcome to parenthood. Even though you're not there yet, Auntie's probably saying very clearly, Auntie, your mum is probably saying very clearly, so he's got good experience for his own version or his own time when he has children.
No, but I'm like, Mum, I can give them back after 2 hours.
So it's a part-time parenting.
Yeah, there you go. It's like kind of just babysitting. I said, like, someone asked what your secret skill is, and I was like, look, I'm the best babysitter. I can entertain and keep 30 kids occupied for like 2 hours, and they go back really hyper to their parents and they're tired. So it's good.
Wow. Do you know what? I think bless them, everybody through this COVID and this current lockdown, I think they all need you on a YouTube channel to do something so everybody can tune in. And there's an answer there's an idea for you. So a question to yourself, I mean, I'm going to ask you very quickly on this one, but just something that you can think that's really been funny, because children, as we mentioned just a moment ago, are so honest and so real. You know, give us a memory, give us something that actually happened that put you into predicament that you had to sort out.
Do you know what it was? So I give out prizes at the end of each kind of game we play. So we were playing musical statues.
Yeah.
And the kids kept sitting down. They kept playing musical bumps. And I was like, no, you have to kind of stand up. And then I just thought, okay, let them statue. And then I was like, okay, let me give out a prize. And they were all dressed up, so it was fancy dress. And I was like, this prize goes to Superman. There was 3 kids that stepped forward, and there was 1 prize. And I was like, oh no. And then they all started like kind of wrestling each other to get the prize. And I was just like,
oh my God. So you started a WWF?
Yeah.
Royal Rumble.
And literally the parents are going, what are you doing? Control the situation. So I just had to kind of make it into like a wrestling themed game. And I was like, okay, the one that wins this kind of wrestling match gets the prize. Like I said, I had 1 prize. It was
That's so interesting.
It's one of the moments where you just have to be there. And it was just chaos. It was pure chaos, but it was funny. It was really,
to be honest with yourself, I think that sounds like a normal day in a parent's life, in the sense of, can you imagine? No one's doing the shopping aisles now, but you've seen plenty of TV adverts coming on lines, and when the child plays a tantrum on the floor. I'm sure that's the same feeling, trust me. But well done to you for resolving that. Great experience for your future. So thank you for that. Now, I do know, Juggy, it's not always plain sailing when it comes to the career that you've chosen for yourself in broadcast. But before I go into some trials and tribulations that you've been having in that environment for the empowerment side of things, so that everybody understands on this particular series, this particular show that I deliver, that it's about you can. But before we get into that space, just a little thought that comes into my mind with reference to your choice of the career of working in broadcast. Did you actually have, I mean, it's very well known, did you have the support of your parents? It's very well known that sometimes, you know, once upon a time, parents were very, you know, wanted every child to be a Asian family, you know, or, you know, a Bain family in essence, but in essence, they wanted them to be doctors, you know, pharmacists or mathematicians, or, you know, something of that sort of nature, bankers and that lot. So was this imposed on you in any way? And I know you're the youngest child, so maybe it was different for your brother and your sister, but for yourself?
For me, it's a strange one, because I'm quite headstrong, I'm quite independent, and I was the first one to kind of go to uni, get that kind of degree photo that all kind of, you know, all parents, and especially Indian parents, love so much.
On the wall.
So,
A goodness gracious me, a goodness gracious me moment. That's my son, and he's does this for me, does that for me. Bless.
Exactly. Like, so, you know, I always got a little bit of leeway, because I was the first person to do, you know, higher education. So, you know, A levels and everything like that. So, but when it came to A levels, I remember my mum sitting down and she's going, look, I think you should do business, economics. I wasn't, you know, I wasn't skilled in science and I didn't do anything kind of doctoral, but she said law, business, or economics. And I thought about it, but I was always kind of a bit of a creative. I always had a thing for media. I didn't quite know what, but I just knew that was the way to go. And I was just like, no, I'm doing English. I'm doing English with film. And
wow.
Yeah, so I've done English and film. And this is 2008. So 2007 when I decided. So 2008 when I went to uni. So this was kind of not known back then. Even when I remember when I went to uni the first day. So in the end, mum and dad were just happy that one of their kids were going to uni. So they were like, okay, you know, go do what you need to do. And then I remember going on my course and all my friends were Asian, but no one on my course was Asian at all. So it was English. Yeah, English was all Caucasian. You know, film studies was kind of majority black. So it was different. And then, so I just realized, okay, once again, I put myself in the same situation I was in growing up.
But I'm sure it had a different feeling, right? Is that I'm good with this, whatever it is, it's no problem. Because the reality of life, because I've spoken to you for a number of times now, that you really haven't got this division in your heart about what I am and what somebody else is and the differences. So in the context of that, that's a very interesting concept that in media you could probably see where possibly, and this is a possible conversation, not reality, there's no evidence to back this on my head right now, could it be that a lot of Asian parents don't necessarily encourage the children to get into that vein, right? So that's probably why, you know, you were supported by your parents to move into that space. You were the only one.
Yeah, and Joe, my parents are really supportive. My whole family is. They are supportive, but that doesn't necessarily mean they understand what I do. Because
I get that.
Yeah, so they're really supportive, and they never say no, because I've always been self-sufficient. So I'm always kind of, you know, looking after myself financially and everything like that. So it's not like I rely on them for that side of things. So I think that helps. But my parents have always encouraged me to have like a full-time job, have like a stable income as they go along. And there's been times where I have had that for the majority of my presenting career, because there's a lot that I've done on the side, but there's times where I have put kind of presenting to the forefront, and they've not always understood that. But I'm like, look, this is the opportunity, I have to go with it. And you know, they don't ever say no, but it's just the understanding. And I think a lot of people have that with kind of, you know, your new age kid, you're growing up and you're wanting to pursue a career in media, and the older generation don't necessarily understand media.
What is media? Yeah, it's a presenting, whatever it is.
And everything's got a cost to it. So, how much are you going to get paid for that? Or how much are you going to, you know, it doesn't work like that, because you've got to do years and years of back work. And
now you're touching. I'm going this way.
Radio and unpaid stuff. And that's why on Sikh Channel, I've done a show called Sikhs in Media, a series. It was my own talk show series. And I was really keen to do that. And I had to do another series before called Sikhs in Sports, where I interview sports talent, because even Sikh Channel, they weren't keen on the media idea. But then once that was a success, they kind of gave me the green light to do Sikhs in Media. And that was interviewing bloggers, producers, and that was to educate the kind of older audience that watch Sikh Channel. This is what kids are doing now. This is what people want to do. This is a sustainable career. It just takes a bit longer to
establish your brand and
and
also gain the experience as well.
100%, yeah.
And just a question, I mean, and as we're just touching on it, it wasn't always plain sailing, right? But you know, your journey, I mean, you've done quite a lot, and God bless you for that. It's been very inspiring to read your biog. What do you feel that you're starting to, you know, you're starting to craft yourself very clearly? You're very clear on your personality. As you said, you're very, very determined to get where you want to be. So if you were to sort of tell me what were the key points and highlights of your journey? You've touched on Sikh Channel. Was it always easy to get these promotional positions?
100% no, not easy at all. Yeah, it's been a challenge, because obviously the amount of emails you send, the amount of knockbacks you get, the amount of kind of unpaid and kind of stuff that you have to do in your own kind of personal time, because obviously you're juggling. You have to live as well. You have to earn your bread and butter money. You have to socialize, but then you have to follow the dream. So it's all about juggling and prioritizing your time. And then, yeah, so it hasn't been necessarily easy. Everything I've done, I can guarantee it has been easy. Even with the BBC job that I'm in now, I remember emailing the kind of editors of all the local stations, even in like kind of up north, because I was like, okay, let me just, edit. And I'll go, look, I want an opportunity. I've been doing community radio for a long time. I want to make my mark. And then I remember there just wasn't no opportunity. So I was like, okay, I'm going to take this into my own hands. And I'd enter the New Voices competition, which is a audition that BBC were doing to get, a new talent from the area onto their station in some way. And then I remember I go, look, I'm going to take this into my own hands then. And where you can't say no. And ended up winning that. So I was like, oh God. And so everything's kind of been a bit strong. Even like Sikh Channel, it took me kind of a long time to kind of, I remember I called Uncle Haji, he ran the London studio. I called him like 4 months. As well. Yeah, he's great. And it took me 4 months to call him every week. And I was like, you need to get some younger audience on there. You need to get some younger audience on there. Even just unpaid stuff, it was getting, hard to.
So the vision behind that was, sorry to interrupt you there, but it's very important to say, but the vision behind that was you had kind of like a relentless energy to deliver, to perform. Because this is a performance at the end of the day. This broadcasting is a performance. And what my question to yourself is that, what advice could you give to somebody who wants to get into this arena? You're showing me this grit that you've got, this relentlessness that you had, and the sheer commitment of not getting pushed off target. So what tips could you give somebody, if you got them to dig deep and to realize that, you rang Baji Harjeet, Haji in Sikh Channel in the London studio every week. My question is, what sort of things did you dig deep in? I mean, you must have been deterred by this as well, right?
Yeah, 100% I was deterred. And there's been so many times, like, since I started hospital radio, which is like 6-7 years ago now. So I started at Bedford Hospital Radio, and that's like a piece of advice I give to everyone. If you want to, get into anything you want to get into, just start it. So if it's writing, start writing. If it's radio, start on your community hospital radio station, volunteer, just get the experience and then build on from that. But like for me, there's so many times where I have given up, of course. Every 6 months, I'm phoning my friends, and I was telling you this off air, and I was like, I'm phoning my friends going, like, it's not for me. I'm going to get a normal job.
I'm done.
I'm done. It's not working now. I'm not getting the YouTube views, or I'm not getting like the opportunities, or I'm not getting this. I'm getting knockbacks, and there's so many periods where I've been like quiet on socials and everything like that. And then I know it's for me, because then I get this like buzz and this burst of creativity. I'm like, no, I'm gonna get back to it.
I've got a new idea. I've got another show.
So yeah, and I'm on the phone going, I need you to plug my new video, or this or that.
Yeah, this is wonderful to hear, and it's so inspiring for the next generation and the generation above as well, and your own generation. The question that I've got, I mean, we all hear of stories such as Sylvester Stallone, who when he wanted to go into film, so he was constantly in the film arena. He took a story for, if you remember, Rocky, to so many 200 different people they got declined by, and in the end he took it upon himself, saying, you know what? Okay, every time anybody asks, you're going to be the actor? No, sorry, you've got a slur and you can't do it. So he moved quite quickly into the arena of, do you know what? I'm going to do this myself. Your inspiration here is the fact that the relentlessness pushed you, keeping you going. And I think it's wonderful to have that flow. If there was something that you would suggest that you just touched on a second ago with reference to going on to charitable radio. So we're sitting on radio. You've said, if you want to do something, just get on and do it. Is there any substitute for what we call on or live airtime in your arena of broadcasting? Is there a substitute for that? I mean, in your game, he went and made his own film, Sylvester Stallone. You've actually turned around and created, you've enhanced or grappled and embraced modern society and modern technology, and you've started your own YouTube channel as well, haven't you? So, give us a bit of an insight to say what inspired you to push into YouTube channel. Has that helped you with getting your framework out there, now getting established within the BBC arena, or do you feel that was just a bit of fun and play? Because or was it something more serious behind it?
So with the YouTube channel, it was more, I need to put out content. I need to show that, show my ideas and show that I'm working. So I kind of saw it, I kind of do see it as that kind of a CV, a kind of, a visual CV. Here is what I can do, on my own. Imagine if I had your backing and I'm working for you, we could make this 10, 20 times better. And that is how I see a YouTube channel. And that is how I see it. I see it as a platform, and it's a great platform. And I just see it as a place where I can showcase my talents and showcase what I can do. And then hopefully that will lead to more.
Great. So would you advise, a bit of advice to the next generation? Obviously, everybody wants to. I mean, I was so blown away when my daughter, she's now 12, but when she was around 7 years old, 6, 7 years ago, or 5 years ago, I went into a junior school. And, on the wall, sometimes they do this planner and people have drawn what they want to be, a fireman, a policeman. In my day, it was like fireman, policeman, and mine, oddly, was businessman. That's all I wrote down in my picture, I can remember. And of the people in her year, I counted in 1 year, I think it was about, 25 or 30 people in a classroom, 2 classrooms. There were 7 people who said, I want to be a YouTuber. This is the age 7 or 8, and that's like 5 years ago. Now YouTube is the new TV medium. But what advice could you give to people? I mean, do you actually create a plan when it comes to the programs you deliver? Or do you just say, oh, I'll just do that random, I'll do that now? Do you create a series? Do you, what's your thought process? What's your plan behind delivering on YouTube? Because obviously it is the CV you said, but it's also going to gives you on the job experience as well, does it not?
Yeah, 100% it does. 100. Just being in front of the camera, you learn little stuff. Like I use my hands a lot, so at the moment I'm sitting on them, like just little stuff. Like
well, I do too, and I don't hide it. I'm good with it.
Yeah, and you kind of realize, the way you express yourself, the way you do stuff. So it's really good to just get that on camera experience. And like YouTube is just one of the many kind of plates I'm spinning. So it's not like kind of one of my main focuses, but I would just say start creating, and that's a good way to just do it. And even if it's not perfect or so polished, it's fine, because you're showing what you can do. You're putting yourself out there, and putting yourself out there in this kind of media arena is so hard nowadays. You've got social media, you've got everyone kind of, judging. Every time I do a post, I used to do a post and I was just like, oh, so daunting. They're going to think I'm a burden. I'm promoting something again, and this and that. And you get like a sense of anxiety. You're just like, oh no, do I sound okay? How am I coming across? Everything just goes through your mind. But now I'm just kind of like, this is my job. This is what I do. So if you don't like it, don't follow me. Like that is literally, and it's like,
that I think, with respect, is such a brilliant message to people, because one of the next question I had written down to share with yourself is, how are you getting over the perfection bug? I've got to be perfect. It's got to be this. It's got to be that. Is it about actually? Is there a happy medium of things maybe being not quite perfect? I mean, look at us. We're in lockdown, so I'm delivering not from a studio. I'm delivering from one of my drawing rooms. Yeah. So we're sitting here in one of my drawing rooms and we're delivering. You're delivering in your lounge as well, the second drawing room as well. So this is not perfect. It's not the best, but is it still going to get watched and committed to? And do you feel those moments? I mean, have you any advice that you could give people to get over that? It's got to be perfect.
It really doesn't have to be perfect. Like and it takes a while to kind of get to grips with that. Your delivery doesn't have to be perfect. Everything I say a lot, and now I just kind of, obviously you don't want to say it, and you're kind of trying, you're working on yourself, but it's all work in progress. Like you just got to do it. The fact that you're doing it and taking that first step, like that is the biggest thing. So it doesn't have to be perfect. Like I do the upload show on BBC Cambridge, and that's encouraging people to upload their creative stuff. So podcasts, blogs, DJ mixes, everything. And it's like, it doesn't have to be polished. You can just do it on your phone. It can be while you're going to the supermarket, because people want to hear about real people, They want to hear about their life stories and everything like that. So it doesn't nowadays. It's just showcasing. You've got to just showcase yourself.
That's brilliant. I mean, I train and I teach people with YouTube as well. And one of the key things I tell them to do is that have a designated, kind of like a show, a framework, a hypothesis that says, this is just me random on, and if you want to deliver that, like what you've just said, going to the shops. do you think there's a serious, and one of the key things I say is there's a serious value in delivering constructed professional series as well, which I think is really wonderful. In your view, does working live on television, does it add to your experience on YouTube, or do you think YouTube added to your on TV performance?
I'd say they're both. I'd say it's equal, because obviously live, there's nothing like it. There's no kind of, there's such an adrenaline rush. There's, you know, that's when you know, okay, you know, when you're doing it live and you get like excited more than the excitement overweights the nerves, that you know you're in the right space. So there's nothing like it. And, you know, the fact that you can manage timings, manage like person in your ear, manage your guests, it's amazing, you know, and that is something you can definitely bring to YouTube. YouTube, you have the safety net of knowing generally, unless you're going live like we are today, it's, you know, knowing you have the safety net of editing. You can always do it in editing. So it's always nice to YouTube. You can kind of practice and practice and practice and kind of get it right, whereas live you can't. So they both kind of add into each other, because you're practicing, all that practicing you're doing YouTubing, you know, you can bring that to live, you know, then things you instill in you. But whereas live, that kind of natural adrenaline is something you can bring to your YouTube performance.
This is just wonderful. You know, today, you've been such an inspiration to everybody. We're not finished quite yet. We've got 5 minutes still. There's no problem there. But, you know, Juggy, I just want to share to yourself that you've been an absolute inspiration. And it's so wonderful to have you on this show. A bright, fresh individual who's got vibrancy, who's bringing a smile to the marketplace, and has really got a very strong future. And I wish to see you on live television soon, and even if you're not, then I'd love to be promoting yourself, and we will help you all the way through ourselves. Now, one of the things that I want to share with the audience that they're listening today, that there's so many multifacets to yourself. I mean, what else do you do? If somebody wanted to get a hold of you, Juggy, you know, what do you do? What are the products that you can offer to the marketplace?
So first and foremost, I'm a presenter. So I present on BBC Radio Cambridgeshire. I've got an upload show that I host, which is where you can, you know, if you're from Cambridgeshire, you can upload your creative talents, and then we play out the best. So that's
if somebody wanted to, what would that URL be, or how would they do that? How would they upload?
Yeah, so you can upload to bbc.co.uk/upload and just find Cambridgeshire. And we take anything, honestly. It can be blogs, rants, talking about dating life. It literally mixes. So it's a whole host of that. And we host that every Wednesday night. And usually it's 8 till 10, but obviously now down to COVID, it's only 8 till 9, because obviously they've got to make way for updates, which is totally understandable. So I do that, and then I'm going on BBC Cambridgeshire tomorrow to talk about BAME, and how BAME people are infected, like, you know, the most affected in this COVID-19 battle. So I'm going to be offering my opinions on that. So
and what time will that be, and which radio station, or is it TV?
So, no, so it's on BBC Radio Cambridgeshire, and it's between 10 to 11, and it's ahead of a special program that they're doing.
AM or PM?
So it's 10 to 11 AM, and then in the evening they're doing a special program called People of Colour and COVID at 7 PM. So you can listen to that on BBC.
So well done for doing that. Thank you very much. So if anybody wants to get in touch with you directly, obviously if they want to support you by watching those videos, they will do. And if they want to get hold of you, how can they get hold of you?
So get hold of me across social media, Juggyz, Juggyz. That's on social media and YouTube as well. So everything's Juggyz.
Instagram, Facebook,
Instagram, Facebook, yeah, it's all kind of, just done it all one. So it's easier. So I remember as well.
And just a thought that comes into my mind is, you know, what this particular time, this is the Empower Hour. So this is about, you know, you've been so helpful to somebody who wants to broadcast today. We may not have the listeners right now live, but this gets repatriated as a copy out and about with everybody. Can I ask you a very personal question? This is the time towards the end. We've only got 3 minutes left, can you believe, before we come off live. It's a deep question, and I know COVID was a big part of your life right now, recently left you in that lonely state, etc. Did life flash in front of you? And if so, what is your legacy that you want to leave on this planet? It's a deep question.
It is quite a bold question as well. So I'm just gonna, so legacy. In terms of legacy, what I've always kind of worked towards is, as long as I can like look back and someone goes, oh, do you know what? I was myself. And, you know, however anyone takes that, they can take it as words, but I was myself. I brought like, you know, a sense of positivity, and I'm really passionate, like I said earlier in the show, you know, diversity. I made way for that. You know, I stuck to my own career path. I, you know, went against the traditional Indian careers, and I done what felt right for me. And you know, I'm still growing on that journey. So who knows if it's going to work out or not, but I'm still going on it because I believe that's right for me. And I think, you know, so I think just want to be known for like resilience and like making the way, paving the way for like diversity and diverse talent being in the mainstream media.
Wonderful. So thank you very much for tuning in, and thank you very much on behalf of ourselves and all of our audience across the globe. Thank you for tuning in, all and every one of you. And thank you very much, Juggy Sohal, for being just a beacon of light during this dark times that we're going through right now. And on behalf of all of us, I'd like to say thank you. Please, please, please like, share, and connect and subscribe to the channel. Keep supporting us whilst we can through this COVID period to bring some positivity back into the world. Juggy has been an absolute light, a beacon of light for us all to hold on to, and a message in his legacy to ensure that he can deliver some form of diversity in the realm of media before, so people can see clearly and openly. This is the Empower Hour show, brought to you tonight by Sukhi Wahiwala, myself, and sponsored by Salam Radio. This an absolute stunning organization, salamradio.co.uk. Please, please, please support us, keep connected with ourselves. Thank you very much for tuning in. We'll be live on YouTube next week, Tuesday, again between 7 and 8 o'clock. Thank you very much. My Juggy.